Sweet. Sweet. Thanks for being here.
So thanks for having me.
Of course. This is episode 8,
Nice.
I think, which is pretty cool. But yeah, talk to me about golf. So you're getting into golf. I've only really gone golfing once, and we weren't really taking it seriously. It was just for fun. And I've gone to a driving range a couple times, but never really gotten into it. But I know people love it. Like, people love golf. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing serious right now either, really, for me. It's just like something to do outside of work. Been heading into the range with my friends and just seeing how far we can hit the ball when we drive, you know? Yeah, and then like eventually when we stop feeling embarrassed about ourselves, we'll actually hit the course, you know? That's the plan this spring. But
people are super judgy in golf, I feel
they are, for sure.
But it's a fun sport. Like, even though I've only done it once, I was doing it. It's something about being outside. Yeah. Like, especially when like you work in kitchens or you work in this industry, like you're inside, you're in an office, like you're inside 90% of the time, unless you're walking your car.
Right.
So it is nice to have like a little outlet. That's kind of what archery is for me, like going to the backyard and just shooting.
Nice.
Like when it's a little nicer out is like, that's the one time I'm outside when I don't need to be. And yeah, I think that's really good.
I just find it's like something to do, you know, rather than just like sitting and staring at my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Because we all do too much of that.
Right. Sure. But you know, it's like you just get out to the range and you just hit the driver, see how far you can hit it, and hopefully not slice the ball, which, like, you know, you get in that unwanted curve. But, you know, once in a while you slice it, and then it actually more than once in a while, I'm not gonna lie to you, but like until you actually like get that swing dialed in.
It's harder than it looks. Like you're just swinging it, but I used to watch YouTube videos on how to get better at it. It's like the grip is really important.
Yes, the grip
way
is
you
important.
Turn your body is important.
To shift your weight, everything like that. So you had to get all that down, and then it's not as easy as it seems. But
it does seem like you're just whacking a ball. But
sure, it's
once you're on the course,
balls with sticks, basically. Like so you just hit balls with sticks.
Which sounds easy, but I mean, I think baseball is the hardest one. Like hitting a ball that a pitcher's throwing
like 90 miles an hour,
100 miles an hour sometimes, like just crazy. Like, I used to play baseball when I was a kid, and I was always scared of the ball, and those were like little kids throwing it at like maybe 40 miles an hour.
Sure.
But, when it's coming at you like that. Also, tennis balls too. Tennis balls go like 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, those will get you. Yeah, they're a little softer than baseballs, but it's still when it's coming at you that high, it's gonna leave a welt. Yeah.
So for people that don't know, so what are you doing right now? Where do you work?
So I work for W Boston, which is one of Marriott's luxury properties. So I work for Marriott International as part of their food and beverage department on that property. So I'm a food and beverage operations manager.
And what's that like? What's running a dining room like? And then also just like what's a day in your life, really? Like, how does it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as sure as you know, like any day in this industry, you're never gonna get anything the same. The only thing that you're really gonna maybe get the same is like your admin work, if you have to do the admin work. But my day, you know, can range from running a banquet event to jumping in to help with in-room dining, as well as running food for the dining room itself and jumping behind the bar if they need me. Like, it really depends, you know. If you're dealing with staffing challenges with call-outs and things like that, you know, you got to just jump in where you needed. And then when it kind of slows down, you do your admin work. So I do a lot of work with like the menu planning, as well as putting it into our POS and things like that. So I'm the POS guy on this property. They've named me the property expert. So I do all that stuff. So anytime there's something that doesn't work right, you know, my inbox gets flooded, or they're getting me on Teams. Like, so everyone's like, technology, Noah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so you're really the one making it happen, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's myself and my assistant director, and like I give a lot of credit to her, like, because she's taught me so much in the past 9 months, like how to be a good leader and how to juggle things and really get your priorities straight when you're getting your day started. So
nice. Being a leader is hard. I had never led anything before. I was a sous chef at Sail Off, and like I was never a captain of a team or anything like captain of a club or leader of a club. Like, never really been in that position before, and it can definitely be a challenge because people hear your words differently.
Yep.
They're not just like they're listening, and they'll remember it more. It has more weight, so you can't say what you might want to say, or say if something's funny, like laugh at it. Like sometimes you have to like put on a stone face and be like,
yeah,
oh
and
man,
sometimes
like,
that's really hard, especially like
yeah,
um with when staff like say certain things, or like they bring a guest concern to me, and like it's sometimes it's like it's hard not to laugh because sometimes like things can be really silly, but
yeah,
like
it's
you
like
have
comical.
to, kind of humble yourself and like realize, okay, like why is the guest bringing up this concern, and like how, like, think about it from their eyes, and then kind of jump in there. And I don't like to see myself as like only talking to people when there's a problem, but like, I have to help when there is a problem and like
Mhm.
remedy that with the guest. And like the biggest thing is like making the moment right and welcoming them back, and, you know, leaving them, having them leave and feel better than when they came in. If there was a problem, or even if there wasn't one, like
Mhm.
if you came to my dining room, I'd want you to like come in, have a great time, and then leave and be like, wow, that was actually worth the money and like a good experience with the
Yeah,
staff and the food and everything. So
and want to come back. That's a
for
really important
sure,
thing. Is
yeah,
like when there is an issue, even in just like a regular restaurant, like when there is an issue or something goes wrong or they're not satisfied, even if it seems like the
hmm,
dumbest thing or like something so silly and simple, the most important thing from a business standpoint is that they are going to come back.
yes,
So that's
yeah,
why the company I used to work for, like, oh, I didn't understand it at first because all the time they were like, oh, we'll give them a gift card,
hmm,
we'll give them basically store credit,
sure,
um, and like apologize to them, have the owner go out and talk to them, all this because then they feel like they're important, they feel
hmm,
like they're being heard, and then the gift card is like, well, now they'll come back.
yeah, come back and
Yeah,
spend, yeah,
yeah, and something about I think something like 60 to 80% of gift cards go unspent too. So it's like
that's
if
true,
you're giving it to them and maybe they'll come back, which would be great. But if they don't, it's like, well, it's okay. Like it's,
yeah,
it's not really that deep because it's not like you're giving them cash.
right,
Um,
right. They
yeah.
have to come back and use it.
Yeah.
So
But that's the hospitality part. Like it's got to make sure people are, it's not just food and beverage. It's like you got to make sure people are taken care of and they
right,
feel as though they're taken care of.
and being part of the hotel too, it's really important. Like you have, a lot of these people are coming and they're like, whether they're staying at the hotel or they're coming just to have dinner before they go to a show across the street. It's, we treat everybody as if they are our guest, whether they are staying in the hotel or not, and just make it a really good experience for them.
Nice. Do you
Yeah,
guys do room service?
we do.
So what's that like? I was talking to my friend Aman, who I went to the CIA with, and he works
Hmm.
for the Four Seasons in Miami or
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale, maybe.
All
No,
right.
no, no, Miami, because he lives in Fort Lauderdale, but he drives to Miami.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, he's always talking about like I'm curious about hotels and what it's like managing one and running the operations and even just the kitchen because I've never worked in a hotel. I've
Hmm.
only worked in corporate and independent restaurants and then at school. So, yeah, what's it like dealing with room service and then also just regular service? And
So depending on the size of your property, you could definitely have multiple kitchens, one that can handle room service and one that can handle regular dining as well as banquets, things like that. On the two properties I've worked at, room service has come out of the same kitchen as the restaurant. Um, so sometimes it can be kind of hectic to get the food delivered up to the room, as well as get the food out to the restaurant, but you have separate teams for that. So when the order comes in, it prints in the kitchen as well as in my room service team, and the room service team will go ahead and they'll set the table or the tray depending on what the guest orders, get everything ready, and then as they're doing that, the line is making the food, and then they pick up from the line, they'll set it, they'll put the cloche on top, and then they'll bring it up to the room, and deliver it there.
that's like a
So
whole different like thing you have to think about because it's not
exactly.
even like takeout.
No,
It's
yeah, it's like
like you
real
have to,
silverware,
yeah,
like
and it's like you
real
have to go
silverware
bring it to the
plates,
person, instant
bring it up to the
feedback.
guests.
Like,
Sometimes, like, it's part of luxury service to offer the guests, can we set it on the table for you in your room? So, like, they would actually, when they wheel the table in or if they bring the tray, it's like, yeah, it's set on that. You can eat off the tray or whatever, but can I go that extra mile for you? And like, you have a table in your room. Can I set the table for you? So, like,
mm,
sometimes, like, they'll want you to do that. Or sometimes they, just, I want the tray, leave me alone kind of deal. So, it really depends. So,
it's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to work in a hotel at some point just to get that
it's
perspective,
pretty
like that
cool.
point of view.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially on smaller properties, you get to kind of cross over in different departments, like at least in operations. Like, I want to, in my next chapter, learn about the front office and like how to sell rooms and check people into rooms and things like that. Like, because I've only done food and beverage. So On this property, since it's a smaller property, like sometimes I help out at the front desk, or like I'll just observe them, and like they're really cool about it. They love to teach me too. So
Nice.
yeah, it's always all about learning.
So again, for people that don't know, so we went to middle school together.
We did.
And there was like 60 kids or 80 kids in our
probably in our class.
Not a lot of people in our little middle school. But I remember when we were, 11 or 12 years old, that you said you wanted to be a chef.
Yep.
And I, at the time, was like, I want to do that too, but I didn't really know what it meant yet. And didn't really see the path or anything like that. But I do remember that I was like, okay, Noah wants to be a chef. And I thought that was so cool. And how did you get to doing the like hotel management in the, I don't want to say front of house portion of it, because I know you went to school for culinary.
Yep.
But what made you switch to the like dining room operations, like the front of house portion of it?
Yeah. So yeah, all my life I was always like, I want to be a chef. I want to work in a restaurant, like something with food. Like, all started when I was a kid. Like it was never like, I wasn't the action figure Lego type kid. I was like, I want plastic food in a pan. Like that's literally what I wanted to do. And then like, I'd always cook when I was younger too. Like with my grandmother, she cooks all the time, standard Italian grandmother. Like, and then that just kind of carried forward. And then when I went to high school at Newton North, I did the culinary program. So we had like a fully functioning restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was really cool.
That's amazing.
So like I ended up majoring in culinary through high school, and I went from an exploratory student my freshman year to a major 3, which has like 3 periods a day in the kitchen and like in the restaurant, running that whole operation. Like we put together our own menus, anything we wanted to do. The teachers would teach us, and like
that's amazing.
It was awesome. And then from there, I was like, I want to continue with this. Like this is what I want to do. I was like full gung ho. Like I want to go to culinary school. I want to be a chef someday and go for it. So I went to Johnson and Wales and I did my culinary portion. And then, not that I fell out of love with it, but I was like, I don't want to be in the kitchen all the time. Like at that point, I worked for a hotel, which I was just starting out, and I was doing, I did an internship, and then I was a supervisor in the front of the house, but I still crossed over and worked in back of house. I really fell in love with getting to talk to people and seeing their face when that food is brought out to the table, because I can make it look pretty and like taste great in the kitchen, but I don't get to see that afterwards part. So that's where I really fell in love with that and wanted to continue in the guest service aspect, but not totally leave behind my passion for food and cooking and plating and things like that.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I think there's something to that, because when you're in the kitchen, you're spending all this time preparing food and all that, but you never actually, unless it's an open kitchen, which is like, there's not a lot of them.
Not every place, but
yeah, getting to see the guests be excited about it, that's awesome. That's cool that you were able to like make that switch as well and feel good about it and like it. I think it's good for everybody to do both.
I agree.
Especially if they're like, I'm going to do this as my career. Like, I mean, if you're just doing it for money, whatever, but
sure.
If you're going to be in it for the long run, I think it's good to know both. Like to have worked in a kitchen, to know what it's like to work the line, go to culinary school, and then also to do the guest interaction. That's what I liked about at the CIA. We had a couple restaurants that were open to the public, and half the restaurant class portion was you're serving.
Yeah, we had the same thing. Yeah, except it wasn't open to the public. I mean, we can bring our families and stuff, but mostly it was like just students coming through and like, hey, want a free meal? Help us practice service? Yeah, come on in.
Nice,
like,
that's
kind of
good.
Thing.
But yeah, I think serving like that, I had never served before. The only other restaurant job I had was I was a host at British Beer Company in Framingham.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's closed. Rest in peace.
Like, it's BJ's now.
Yeah, BJ's. I've been there once. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah, BJ's is good. I like it.
But yeah, that was a great experience. Like getting to because now it's like I feel like a lot of line cooks and chefs are always like, man, like fuck the front of house. They're always messing this or that up.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, I've seen both, so I kind of feel for them a little bit more, and I understand both sides. But also at Oscar, where I externed, there was not really servers. There was like a beverage manager, a wine expert, like a somm, and then there was people who would like I guess they were servers, but the chefs, it was an open kitchen.
Was it kind of like team service, where there was a captain and there's a server
there's a captain,
and then there's a front waiter, back waiter kind of thing.
Exactly, but it was such a small team.
Yeah.
And then the chefs and the cooks would actually bring the food to the table and then describe it to them. So even seeing that early, because I wasn't done with school yet, I was still in school. So even seeing that and then getting to do front of house, because there it wasn't like front of house, back of house. It was like we are just one team, and we are making it work. And I feel like having that in my head has been very helpful, because even at places where it's very defined, like back of house, front of house, we're still all just working together to make sure that the guest is happy.
Yes, that's the big thing. That's what I mention with my team all the time. Like, we're here for the common goal of making the guest happy. Whether you work in the front, you work in the back, you work in housekeeping, you work in banquets, like, you're still here for that goal.
Yeah,
we want to make them happy. They're paying money. They're staying here, and we want to make them like kind of forget they're paying money. Like, these people are traveling. A lot of business travelers as well. Like in the 2 properties I've worked in, as well as transient. So you'll get your transient mostly on the weekends, depending on where you work. The property I'm at now, you get like families and kids on the weekends. They're in the theater district, so that's your transient portion. Then during the week, you're getting your business travelers. Like your Monday through Friday, you have people who work for companies in Boston, but they work remote in, like, I don't know, Nevada. They send them over here, and it's like, all right, I got to go to the office for X, Y, and Z meeting, and I'm staying at W Boston. Cool. Like, let's make them feel like they're at home, because that's really important. Like, they're traveling away from their families. They're, it's not always comfortable to go away from your family, especially like if you're traveling every single week. But so kind of make them forget that they're paying money and that they're, have to purchase a room and things like that. So just treat them like, they're part of our family, and try and bring that to work. And that's really important. So
nice.
Yeah.
What was the culinary portion of Johnson & Wales like? Like, what was the program like?
Yeah. So I did the dual degree, which like gave me both back of house and front of house experience. So when I was in the back of the house, I was in my culinary labs. We had a huge building, Cuisinart Center for Culinary Excellence. It was like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, it's building like 90 plus kitchens, 4 floors,
Whoa.
3 dining rooms on one end that overlooks the Narragansett Bay in Providence. So like, when you open the shades, you have floor to ceiling glass windows, and it's like your guests are looking out at the bay when they're having their lunch or dinner. So that was where the front of the house classes took place. Then the back of house classes, you're in the kitchen. You start out with your foundation and fundamentals of culinary, where you learn, okay, this is a chef's knife, this is a paring knife, this is a tournay knife, like I'm going to use this one for filleting. Like, you go through all of that, and then you'll do both an academic and a hands-on component of your classes, where all right, we're going to talk about the different knife cuts, where a julienne is an 1/8 by 1/8 by 1 to 2 inches, and a bâtonnet is a 1/4 by 1/4 1 to 2 inches. And then if you cut the bâtonnet into 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4 cubes, that's the Julienne Brunois Macédoine. Yeah, so I wasn't remember it like that. But so then
I wouldn't remember that either, honestly. Yeah.
It's like, it's been ingrained into my brain. You turn the Julienne into a Brunois when you make the cubes. You turn a bâtonnet into a Macédoine, and the carré cut is even bigger than that. And like, it's just stuff I can never erase from my brain. But I mean,
that's good. Must mean you really like it.
The tournay, when you've done a tournay before,
yes.
Yeah, that's like,
that was part
nightmare
of
fuel. Yeah,
yeah, that was part of our daily homework. We would have homework, like we would have PowerPoint we'd have to watch, and then we'd have questions we'd have to fill out, and then keywords, vocabulary, and then we would have to do tournays at home. So literally, like, while watching it,
wow, okay.
Yeah, he would give us potatoes, and we'd have to bring it back the next day. And then that would be part of our knife tray.
Okay.
And he'd be like, did you do your tournay? Like, if you didn't have it, he'd be like, well, you fail your homework then, because you didn't do them. But it was always very funny, like, bringing home potatoes, like, back to your dorm, and then being like, I gotta get, like,
I know, like, so then you have this sharp knife, like, it's like curved like this. You're like, all right, I'm gonna cut towards myself. Like, they always tell you, because they always tell you don't cut towards yourself. But it's like, all right, when I'm gonna hold this cube of potato and like literally cut towards myself, and if you slip through that potato, like, you're finger, it's right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that is nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
That's something I remember.
That was always
fondly.
that was the practical exam. That was one of the hardest for me to do that.
The tornado. Yeah. And it's such a useless knife cut. Like really nobody uses them except for like, maybe some really old French restaurants
Sure.
I do remember we did Garchon potatoes with tournaise though, and that was delicious. Like just little like sauteed potatoes with herbs and butter.
Yeah,
and,
like,
that was
the same.
The shape is very nice.
It is. Yeah.
But not worth the effort.
No, it's not.
And there's so much waste.
Your yield on that is nothing.
No yield,
because you're already cutting the potato down to get that that rectangular prism, and then once you cut it again to make that 7-sided football shape, it's like, look at the waste compared to the product I get. Yeah. And then we did like a yield test based off of that. So like you weigh the whole potato with the skin, and then you peel it, then you cut it, and then you actually weigh your tournay when you're done. You compare it, like the percentage of what I've gotten out of this is my percent of yield. And it's like, well, if that potato costs me X amount of dollars, technically like the tournay is costing me that amount of dollars because it's like I am not using anything else. Like granted, we would turn our scraps into mashed potatoes, but for a family meal, but you're not going to mash that up and give it to a guest per se. But,
right. Yeah. So. That's definitely a challenge in the kitchen at all times is okay, we have this product we want to serve to the guest. We get this much waste off of it. How do we use that?
Right. And how are you going to counteract the cost of goods? Yeah. So, you're going to price it high, but then it's like, no one's going to order it. Like you got to kind of you got to have a good perspective with how the guest is going to look at this menu and what they're going to pick. And menu design's a big thing too. So I like to do that a lot.
Yeah. Menu design. That's definitely challenging.
Yeah.
It can be hard the first couple times. I remember we had a class where we had to like do just like a menu, and he was like, just write a menu and then we're going to execute it in class. And it's very overwhelming because you're like, well, I can do anything. Like, and then you start thinking like, well, what do I want to do? Like, what type of cooking is my own?
Yeah.
Which I struggled with for a while because I'm just like a white dude from Massachusetts. So it's like, I was like, well, what's my culture?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
But at least you're like Italian, like it's your...
Right. But everybody, when they want to make a menu, does Italian, so it's...
I guess, but like, I don't know, because I'm French Canadian. And then when you think about French Canadian food, like, I mean, now I know about restaurants like Canoe and stuff like that are doing great stuff with French Canadian cuisine. But back then I was like, I don't know what French, like, it's just like poutine. Yeah. Like, and that's like all I could really think of. Yeah, great thing. But that was a challenge. I realized while I was at Oscar that, because I would think about it every day, like all my friends at school, like my best friend was Indonesian. He grew up in Jakarta. So he's like, oh, I'm going to do Indonesian food. And then Aman, who I mentioned earlier, he's from India. He's like, I'm going to do Indian food.
Yeah.
My friend Addy, he's from Africa. Chidima, same thing, from Africa. Phong is from Vietnam. Like they all had these very defined cultures that they had a background in cooking. And I was just like, dude, I don't have that.
Right.
But it became seafood because I realized like I didn't just grow up in Massachusetts. It's like, it's New England. Like, New England is seafood to me. That's what it really means. So that's kind of where I found my thing I wanted to hone in on, which is nice because especially now at the place I'm at, Lisa Lofberg, the chef, is amazing. And I told her like, oh, I'm like really into seafood. We got some scup in and we were doing like fried scup, which was delicious. I've never had scup fried. And I got to break them all down. It was like...
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram.
A ton of different fish. And I was super excited about it and took me all that because I'm really slow at it. But I told her I'm excited about breaking down fish. You gotta
be careful when you break down a fish, especially if it's not gutted out. That unit was the worst one.
You didn't like it?
No.
See, that's
because
what's weird.
Because it was just like, it was gross. Like, I mean, I can break down proteins, but it's like, at that point, you see everything in terms of like their insides, and it's like you make one wrong cut, and like the chef's like, don't cut the poop chute, and then and it's like, don't cut what, and it's like you cut it, and it's like all of a sudden this like awful smell just like came out. Yeah.
But I don't know what it is about like breaking down fish. Like even before school, I'd always watch people filleting fish and like just on YouTube and watch sushi chefs do it and break down whole fish and like all the different cuts, and like it's just very interesting to me. Always, so it kind of makes sense, but yeah, I told Lisa I was into it, and she was like, cool, this summer we'll just get as many whole fish as we can. Nice. And you can just break them all down. I'm like, awesome, like great. I wanted that at the place I was at for the past 2 years because they do a lot of seafood in New Bedford.
Sure.
But it was such a high volume place that it's like everything's coming in fish tubs and styrofoam boxes, fillets already cut. It's just like, maybe the pin bones you have to take out and you have to portion it, but that's it. So I got to do a lot of portioning, which I'm really nice at now, which is good.
Sure.
But not a lot of like breaking down fish.
Yeah.
I think the only fish I really got to break down was we got bluefin tuna one time, but again, that was a loin that was already like that was a quarter that was already out, so I was still just portioning it.
Yeah, and skinning it if you decide to.
Yeah, swordfish had to trim up a swordfish loin a couple times, but never really breaking down whole fish. And then I get to Little Moss, and it's like, okay, we're gonna do scup, and then we got tile fish in, and that I've never done the tile.
I've never.
Doing the tile fish was fun because when I was at school in fish fabrication, it was always like who could finish first with like the most accuracy.
Sure.
And there was this one dude, Ben, who was from Korea, and he was nice with it. Like he had worked in restaurants before, like had experience. I did not. And I was always trying to keep up with him, and I was doing pretty okay. But then there's a day where chef was like, oh, we actually have a tile fish today, so whoever finishes first gets to break this down.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I need to finish first so I can break down this cool looking fish. And I didn't because he's so fast. So he got to break it down. And I was like, but then now I've had the opportunity to do it, which I was so happy about it. Like so fun. Breaking down big fish though is so different.
It is.
From breaking down small fish. Like small fish, it's like you go through the rib cage, it's like whoop, done. Take it off, easy, pin bones, boop, 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 done. The big fish, the pin bones are like in there. Like they are.
You gotta go looking for it.
Like with all your strength trying to rip them out.
Yeah.
And if you miss one, like that can cut somebody's throat. Like those are
they are very sharp.
Swallowable. Like,
very sharp, especially in larger fish and like good length too. So.
Oh yeah, they can impale you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that you're like, oh yeah, I didn't like breaking down the fish, and like the guts on the inside was like gross because it's like I don't know, I like it in some weird way. Like
I mean, like I like if the fish was gutted already, like and we just did the rest, like that was fine because we get whole fish and they were already gutted like sometimes, but like when it was like whole fish, everything in it, like we did like that once or twice, but it was just messy. Like,
was that one of the moments where you were like, I don't know if I want to be in the kitchen anymore?
No.
What, do you have a moment where you kind of in your head while it was happening, you were like, maybe I don't want to do this?
Not really. It's
because you still like the kitchen.
Yeah, I still like it, but you don't get that. I like the interaction part. I'm a very social person, where like you make friends in the kitchen and stuff like that too, and but just more so like like I said, I love seeing somebody happy when they get that dish, or like I love talking to somebody after their meal. Like, if I'm on the line or like I'm a chef, like, you don't necessarily get to go out in the dining room as much. Like that place that you mentioned that the chef would bring it to the table up in New York, like that's like rare like that, but that's really cool.
Yeah. I remember being blown away by it because I didn't know what it was going to be like when I got there. And like we were commies, so we weren't allowed to bring food to the table, but like the chef de parties, like they would be helping us plate and everything, and then they would like go and run it to the table, and then you have to describe what's in the dish, you have to know what's in it, how it's prepared, because if guests ask question, you have to know.
And you don't want to walk away and then
right, and you'd be like, oh, let me go ask.
Hold on a second. Like doing that now sometimes too, I'm like, shit, I should have known like what the soup of the day was today. Like but even still, like it's an honest mistake, or like people get it, but in that kind of fine dining aspect, like that's where I'm trying to get to. Like we're a luxury property, but it's like different luxury. It's not the like St. Regis and the Ritz-Carlton white glove service, like ladies and gentlemen, kind of like how you address people, things like that. The W is like younger luxury. It's called like the whole thing that we do is like we're remixing luxury. We're very like music focused and like the going through a rebrand as well, where like everything before was like pops of color, different patterns, things like that. We're trying to still have that kind of remixing luxury aspect where it's more fun and kind of laid back, but still higher level service. But now it's more so like neutral tone, black and white, like still small pops of color, but not like glitter and like extremely loud like propaganda. Like what do they call that? Collateral. Like like your room keys are not going to be like what we used to have, like the roller skate with glitter, like, and it says W Hotels on it. Like now it's like a little bit more upscale, a little minimalist, like
classier
black room key with a W on it. Like same thing with like how we plate the food, like what color plates are we using, and polishing our silverware, making sure it's like it's elevated, but you're not going to walk in and see a tablecloth in a W. Like you're going to see like a clean marble table or like a glass top table. Like so it's still luxury, but not that like white glove service like kind of thing like that. It's a different type of luxury, catering to a different demographic. So
yeah, the white tablecloth can be intimidating.
Yes,
for sure. I
walk over with a glass of red wine. You're really like, oh, well,
shit.
Yeah.
I was just in California with my mom, and we went to San Francisco. We flew into San Francisco, and then we stayed in Glen Ellen, and then we were spending time in Napa and Sonoma.
Okay.
And then we were lucky enough to go to the French Laundry, which was
unreal. That looked amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And then we also went to Shota, which is a 1-star Michelin omakase sushi. And like people have been asking me like, oh, well, which one did you like better? Because those were like the two main fine dining things we did out there. I mean, obviously the French Laundry is the French Laundry.
Yes.
It's like, it's incredible.
You're never gonna
but I was more comfortable at the omakase because it's like you're just sitting there. It's a counter. The chef's right there. You can talk. Like we were talking the whole time. I was asking questions, asking about his knives, like because I was just so excited about it. A little more casual. You're eating with your fingers.
Okay.
For most of the courses. And then the French Laundry, in contrast, is like white tablecloth. Everybody's in suits with ties. You definitely feel as though you're being handled very delicately, like very nicely, but you are being handled and you're being watched. Like definitely very aware of that. Like just at school when we were doing the front of house, like I remember my professor, she would always say, Professor B, shout out Professor B. She would always say your job as a front server and a back server, like when you're in the dining room, your job is to be a master eavesdropper. Like you need to know what they're thinking before they ask you, like, and be paying attention. Like, is their glass at half? You should go fill it up now. Like, don't let their glass empty.
Anticipatory service.
Yes,
is
exactly.
Very, very important.
Yeah, make it so that it's seamless. Like they don't even have to think. They don't have to ask. They don't have to do anything. They just it all just happens around them, and they leave, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was like amazing. We didn't have to lift a finger, and the food was incredible." So the French Laundry was definitely more like that, and I was definitely very like I don't want to say on edge because I was relaxed, but I definitely felt like I can't like
if I use like this like, the wrong fork or whatever,
you'll look foolish.
You got to.
Just two incredible experiences, but very different.
Nice.
And arguably, we went to In-N-Out as well, and arguably that was just as good because I had always wanted an In-N-Out burger.
No, I've never had an In-N-Out burger. I really want to go.
It was really good. I think it's worth the hype. Some people say it's overhyped.
Yeah, I've heard people say that too. But I'm like,
I think those
for
people
someone who's never had it,
they're just haters that live on the East Coast and are just mad that we don't have them out here.
Right.
And I'm one of those people. I'm mad we don't have them out here because it's great. The biggest difference is the beef.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, I ate a double cheeseburger, fries. And then we were walking around, and I felt good. Like I felt great. But if I were to go do that at McDonald's or Burger King, I am down and out for hours. Like I will feel like shit. So yeah, In-N-Out is also very, very good.
All right, I'm gonna put it on my list.
Yeah, next time you're in California,
it's worth. Haven't made it yet,
stop.
So that's
Yeah, that was my first time in California. Actually,
nice.
I went there when I was a kid because we went to Oregon and we were going to Crater Lake, and we flew into California, but we didn't spend any time there.
Yeah.
So this was really my first time, like spending some time out there, which was nice. Highly recommend it. I liked it a lot. Yeah,
let's check it out.
Yeah, some people say there's a lot of bullshit over there, but it's whatever.
It's travel.
There's bullshit everywhere.
Yeah,
exactly. And I like the West Coast a lot. It was warm. Like I really like the East Coast,
not this 26-degree wind that we have.
Gale
right
warning, where it's just blowing all day.
Exactly.
I don't know. I always think about like where I'd move one day. And honestly, recently I'm kind of like, I don't like shoveling and I'm over being cold. You know what I mean? Like been here my whole life in Massachusetts. So trying to figure it out. We've talked about Texas.
Okay, nice.
But definitely would have to be in like Austin or Dallas or like one of the cities.
What attracts you there?
The food scene in Austin. I had a chef in Fundamentals, Chef Nidahara, and he spent a bunch of time in Louisiana and kind of learned like Southern cooking. Nice. And when I think of like American cuisine, because America is just like a big melting pot of all the different cultures and all the different cuisines, especially like New York.
Yep.
I think the most American cuisine is barbecue.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I'd have to agree.
Yeah. And I definitely would love to learn some of that. Let's go work out there.
Work with a pit master.
Yeah. Also,
I think that'd be really sick too. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of wood fire restaurants as well in Austin, which I can't think of any right now. I forget the name of the one I was thinking of, but where they just cook over wood fire, which I think is great.
That's really cool.
It's warm there year round, which is nice. Middle of the country.
Yeah.
But Sayana doesn't really want to go there because she's like, it's the South. You know, and I'm like, well, yeah, okay, fair. I've never actually been to the South either.
Sure.
Except for
Neither
Texas,
have I, except for
Florida. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Florida. Yeah.
But Florida's weird because it's as south as you can get.
It's true.
Not really the South.
No.
It's like its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like alligator meat maybe, but like
yeah, and
like the
anacondas.
Unique thing out there. Yeah.
Yeah, in the bayou.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I follow this guy. I forget his name, and he like fries everything on Instagram. Like he's got this big fryer and he like cranks it down and lowers it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah. And he did like a whole snake, like an anaconda the other day, and I was like, that's just ridiculous.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I don't know if I would want to eat that. I would try it, but
I would try it. Yeah, I'm always gonna try something, but
yeah, I don't know. But Italian food, do you have a special place for Italian food in your heart?
Well, obviously Nonna's kitchen, where, you know, she taught me a lot of things. Like, so nothing's gonna ever be as good as hers. But I mean, I love the North End, and I love Federal Hill and Providence, where I went to school. But so Rocco's Cucina in the North End is one of my favorites, as well as if you're looking for really fancy, I went one time with one of my best friends, Annabelle. So shout out to Annabelle. We went to oh my god, I'm gonna blank on the name now, of course, but it was. Hold on, I gotta look it up because it was just so good.
I blank on things all the time.
I know.
I just can't think of anything.
It wasn't Camille's on Federal Hill. It's pricey, but it is so worth it. Very fine dining. It's an old Victorian house, so they converted it to a restaurant. So like when you're in the dining room, like, you know, there's like stairs that go up to the second floor. It looks like you're in someone's house. But it's really cool. It was they have like a little like bar off to the side, kind of speakeasy-ish vibes. Great drinks, as well as, like, you know, they do Caesar salad table side for you. The food was fantastic. I think I had like a butternut squash ravioli with like there was like a sage butter sauce on it too, and then
which is like so classic.
Yeah,
like, so
it is
delicious.
It was just
like
so good.
Dish.
Yeah, it was great in the fall, and then, like, you know, they do like seafood towers, and like the oysters are fantastic.
Do you like oysters?
Yeah, once in a while. I mean, I'm not like ever like hankering for one, but like if someone's like, "Do you want to get some?" I'm like, "Yeah, we can." But
yeah, I'm quite the opposite. I love oysters with all my heart. Like, it's actually in that little forecourt Canberra right there. There's some oyster shells.
Love that.
Because on Valentine's Day, I brought some home. I just got some from the restaurant and brought them home, and we shucked them and ate them. And they were so deep. The shells were so deep.
Wow.
Like, and they were like little cups, and I was like, these would make great plates, like for something. So we kept all the really deep ones in there, and they're soaking.
Love that.
But yeah, that place sounds really good. I love the North End. I forget the name as well of this place that we went to. You know, my memory is failing me right now, but that's okay. But we were on a food tour. It was called the Politically Incorrect Food Tour.
Okay.
And it was like the most Boston guy you could ever imagine. I forget his name, but he like missing teeth, and he was like making all these crass jokes.
Like Sully or something.
Yeah. He was making all these crass jokes the whole time, but he was hilarious. But he took us to a pizza place. We went and got some arancini at this place, another place, walking around, giving us history about the area. And then we walked by this place that wasn't on the food tour, but there was just this old Italian man alone in this building, and he didn't have gloves on, but I looked in the window and I saw there was like guanciale and pancetta just hanging, and I was like, Mom, I want to go in there. And we went in there, and he, like, no gloves on, like sliced it
up for you,
gave it to us, and it was delicious.
I'm
like,
sure.
Oh my god, so good. The North End is like a little gem in Boston, like some of the best food in Boston.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish the Michelin Guide would come to Massachusetts because I feel like it would make everybody up their game a little bit, and like
That's
maybe
true.
more people would want to come and open restaurants here, so they could like, or the people that are here, they would maybe
Yeah,
just, we have the James Beard Award here.
that's true. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I
like
don't think there's anything Michelin rated in the state. I don't
no, yeah,
think.
they don't come to Massachusetts. They started going to Florida about 4 or 5 years ago, and then in this past year, I said they were going to start going to Texas, and they did.
All right.
And I was like, I knew that was going to happen. I
Okay.
feel like I don't know where else they're going to go, but I would look to Massachusetts now. I can't think of anywhere else that would
There's gems in Rhode Island too. Like
Yeah.
Rhode Island, there's a lot of hidden gems, and
100%. Providence has some great
J-Woo
restaurants.
alum doing a lot of different cool things down there, and it's a cool place. You gotta check it out.
100%. Yeah, Persimmons in
Yeah.
Providence. I haven't been there yet, but I've heard incredible things.
I haven't been, but they
just
really
got
great
nominated,
place.
I think, for a James Beard
Did
Award.
they?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is great. And then also, what's the one that starts with an O? Oberlin. Yes. Again, haven't been there, but everybody tells me like incredible, doing really good stuff.
I used to walk by all the time. Like it was on the way to the mall. My friends and I would walk from campus, and like they have their windows open up and you can see everything inside. They do a really good job in there. Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Fook, who actually I went to the CIA with, and then he lives in Mattapoisett, which is just up the road. Which I didn't know. I didn't know he lived so close. It's really funny. He's starting work at Little Moss as well. He reached out to me for a job, and he did a stage at Oberlin just the day before.
Okay.
And he was telling me they have like, because I'm also into fermentation. That's like a big thing. That's why I went to Osca and why I was interested, is because they're Scandinavian. They do a lot of fermenting, curing, all that type of stuff. And he said he did a stage there, and they had a huge fermentation program, which kind of surprised me because when I think of Oberlin, I think of the pasta. People always talk about their pasta is really, really delicious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know they were fermenting, which is really cool. It makes me
really
want to go
cool.
there
I didn't
even
know
more.
that. Yeah.
And just go check it out. I don't know the chef's name, but that would probably be someone cool to talk to.
Yeah,
as well.
For sure.
Also, God, dude, I'm not good with names, but I went to this barbecue place in Providence as well. That was ridiculous.
Dirk's.
That might be it. Yeah.
I went once.
Yeah. They had like braised kale that really stood out. It was like braised kale with bacon in it. And it was just like, oh, so good. It had like mac and cheese and brisket and just pork. Like, I love barbecue.
Me too.
Good.
Me too.
So good.
We didn't do enough of that in school. I wish we like in Garbage Day, we made smoked salmon and like we smoked turkey and things like that to like make charcuterie and things like that. But never really like any smoking to like do barbecue dishes or anything like that, which I'm interested as to why we didn't.
Yeah, it's so American.
It is. And like honestly, like it's especially starting out the year, be a really good team building thing, especially with freshmen. Like, like do barbecue and then invite everybody to eat like what we made,
That would be good. That'd be a good program for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, none of that at the CIA either. Garmage was a fun class. It was really fun learning how to make sausage.
Yeah. We did head cheese too.
Yeah, head cheese, which sounds really gross.
Chef Noor, love that man, little German guy. He's still one of the most fantastic people I met. Like, I ran into him on socials a little while ago, and like I was like, he's still there, and like doing great things. Like J-Woo Providence is posting him, like as well as some of the chefs I had too. Like they're still there, and they're just really great people to stay connected with. So I'm happy I got those connections for sure.
Yeah, that's the best part of culinary school. I think you genuinely can learn everything on the job.
You can.
Like, it's not necessary to go to culinary school, but I think it is a good base if you have the means.
100%.
But the connections you make is really the biggest takeaway I had. Like the friends I've made, the professors I got to work with, like so many talented people. Really opens your eyes. I remember getting this CIA and I was like terrified because I was like, I've never worked in the kitchen before. No, that was literally
me. Like at Johnson and Wales, I was like, I worked in the kitchen at school, like in high school, but I was like, other than that, I only ever worked front of house. Like I don't.
Yeah. That was even more than I had. I got there and I was like, I've never worked in a kitchen before. I've just been a host at a restaurant.
That's like really the nice thing though. Like, I was a tour guide for 4 years and like worked my way up from tour guide to tour captain to events coordinator within the admissions office. And like, that was my biggest thing. Like on tour, I'd tell all the families, like, you don't need experience to come in here. Like, that's what's really great. Like, whether you have restaurant experience or not, you're still going to take the foundations and fundamentals courses where you're going to learn your mother's sauces, you're going to learn how to do your knife cuts, you're going to learn how to make clarified butter, things like that. If you have the experience, great. you're still going to do it again. Like, you know, it's like everybody off at the level playing field, because it's not expected that you have experience coming into school. You're coming here to learn.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing. Like, when I went to school, I was worried about it. Like, yes, I did have the experience in high school as well as in my home kitchen, but we didn't make clarified butter. We didn't make we did do knife cuts and things like that, but it wasn't as detail oriented. And okay, we're gonna spend 3 days on doing like a julienne until you know how to do it, kind of deal. So it's just really good to know, like, for anyone that's interested in culinary school, that you don't need the experience. You're all going to start from step one. So
yeah, for sure. And even if, like, I think that's really good for people to hear, because it's a common thing where people are like, should I go or should I just work my way up? I think
either way,
do whatever's within your means. And you're going to be successful either way. But I do have to say, like, knowing those basic things is a huge advantage getting out there. Like, I know people who have been working for 10 years in the industry, and if I told them to clarify some butter, they'd have no fucking clue. Or if I told them to make a stock, they'd be like, I don't really know how to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And those are things that are crucial. I was talking about that with, who was it? Ethan on episode 5, I think. We were talking a lot about just like in corporate environments where you have a whole commissary team that's kind of prepping all the sauces and doing all the stocks and everything. The line cooks don't actually need to know how to do anything except like cut chives, maybe brunoise some shallots, like just really basic stuff for the line and like for your mise. But
then
like
you lose those. Yeah, you miss out and you lose those basics. We're like totally grateful for the commissary team. Don't get me wrong. Like,
they
love that.
They make the world go around.
They do make the world go around
for those high volume places.
Yeah. Like where I am now, we don't have that. Like, we have, everyone does the prep and everything and helps out, so they all know what they're doing. Some larger properties, you'll have that, as well as especially like cruise ships and things like that too. But
oh man, dude, we watched a whole film on kitchens on cruise ships. We actually watched one on, I don't know the name of the boat. I can't wait till I have a producer here, like someone sitting with a laptop. So they can
it's like, get me the name.
Just be like, hey, could you look this up? We're not there yet, but I actually went on this cruise ship for the one cruise I've ever been on, and that was the one we were watching about. It's the largest cruise ship in the world at the time, and I was astonished at the fact that there was whole floors of the ship that are like highways, basically, just to move speed racks, just from one end of the boat to the other, because they have 24-hour buffets.
That's true.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Raw bar 24 hours, and then the chef's dinner every night.
Yes.
Which is like, and then there's fine dining mixed in there. So all these different, like how many different kitchens are on there.
Right.
And what blows my mind the most is I remember seeing them load up the food onto the boat for this long cruise, and it's just thousands of cases.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible how much food is consumed on cruise ships.
Well, people go crazy when they see a buffet.
Yeah, and it's 24 hours. So it's 3 a.m. and you're drunk. You're like, let's go get some brunch right now.
Exactly.
Hell yeah! Like, and it's there. Like, you can go get eggs Benedict at 4 a.m.
You can.
It's incredible, and I think chefs that I have so much respect for chefs that do that and run operations on places like that, and also stadiums.
I know,
hotels as well, because hotels are just like, there's so many people, and like the room service is a whole different aspect.
Right. Especially the properties that have 24-hour room service. So you got to keep, either if you have that designated kitchen, keep the designated kitchen open, or if you don't and you have 24-hour room service, you got to keep someone in the main kitchen,
Yeah, and that's just such a challenge. And it's like times 1,000 when you're on a cruise ship, because there's nowhere to go either.
No,
like,
there isn't.
Yeah, there's an AM team, there's a PM team, they live on the boat. Like, God, you couldn't pay me enough money to do that. Like, I'm not a big
I know, I have so much respect for them. And like, when I went on my cruise, like, I tipped well, because I was thinking, like, these people come to work, they go downstairs, they go to sleep, they come back to work, so they never, like, when we port and stuff, they get off and they go have fun and things like that. But otherwise, you're living on that boat, and like, the contracts are like 7 months at a time, so it's like they're on that boat for 7 months at a time, and then they finally get to go home maybe for like a week or two, if that, or if they choose another contract right after, they can just go on another boat. I mean, I met some great bartenders on my cruise I went on last year. Alex and Maria, fantastic people. It was at the Alchemy Bar on the on the Carnival Conquest. I went with my friend Taryn from school. We had a fantastic time. And then, they really showed the passion for cocktails. And oh, gee, one day I was like, I don't know what I want to have to drink. Like, I had the drink package. So I was like, sure, why not? Like, let's just get the drinks. And then Alex asked me, do you like cherry? And I said, yeah. So he made me like a black cherry Manhattan. And
oh, wow. That sounds delicious.
I'm not a Manhattan guy, but that was awesome. Yeah.
And that's a great name for a bar. Alchemy.
It looks like a old apothecary store, all the little drawers on the wall. Like,
that's so cool.
One of them was like a white coat, like for like a pharmacist. Like, it was really cool.
That's such a cool vibe. I always say that cooking is kind of like magic because you take all these different things and you make something new. And there's a lot of chemistry that's happening, and like especially like clarifying a stock. Mm-hmm. It's, you put egg whites and tomato and onions and all these different things in there, and then you let it go at this very specific temperature, and then all of a sudden it's crystal clear.
Yes.
It's like this really magic process. But then I think that bartending and doing cocktails and also wine is like alchemy. You're making potion. Like you're making potions that make people feel good and taste good. Like, it's so cool.
It's really cool. Did you do a bartending class at school? Did they have that?
No, I didn't. They did have it, but I wasn't I was so locked in on food. I wasn't worried about it. The only beverage class I had to take to graduate was Wines 101, but I'm happy I took that class because I liked wine before, but that class made me really appreciate wine a lot more, think about it more regionally, not just like, this is a Pinot Grigio, so I like it. It's like, just thinking about regionality, I think, is the biggest thing, because it's all about soil.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I got to learn a little bit more about that when I was in California. My mom was like, what do you want to do while we're out there? I was like, I want to eat good food, and I want to go drink wine and drink at vineyards. And so we went to 3 vineyards, and 2 of them really stood out. Goose Cross was amazing. We got to like walk in the vines post-harvest, but there's still some grapes on there that were like older, so it's like we're drinking the wine from that little section, and then we're eating the grapes.
That's really cool.
And it's like you really get to understand tannins then, because tannins come from the skin.
Yep.
So it's like you eat this grape and you're like, wow, it's really bitter, but that gets imparted, and they control how much of it is in there.
Exactly.
That was really cool. And then also Hamel Winery was incredible. They have a cave, and they were like a biodynamic farm. So there was like, they have a cow, like a resident cow that just kind of like walks around and poops all over the place to fertilize it. And then we saw like jackrabbits running around. Like, they don't do like pest control or anything, no pesticides. Like, they just let nature run its course. And then their cave was incredible because they had some cutouts in the wall where you could see the raw clay and the raw soil. And it would be like, you could see different layers and different types, and he was telling us about the different types of soil. And then we'd walk 50 feet down, and there'd be another cutout, and it would be completely different. And he would talk about the different soils and all the different patches and all the different like areas, and very interesting.
That's really cool.
I like that a lot.
I gotta make it out there.
Yes, yeah. If you go, go to Goose Cross. I really recommend it. And Hamel, those 2 were amazing.
You've gone to the Newport Vineyards?
No, I haven't.
I haven't been either, but we should do the big food and wine. Yeah, we should. Yeah. The big food and wine festival is like insane, but off season, like definitely, like I'm sure they'd be able to spend more time with you and like show you the different grapes and things like that. But I'd love to go there.
Yeah, I would be so down. I love wine, and
same,
especially drinking it during the day. It's amazing when you have no work.
Hey, exactly. Yeah. You got the Newport Marriott down there too. Get my discount.
Hell yeah.
We're all good.
There you go. I wish we did, or I wish we were forced to do a bartending course. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, while we were doing the front of house portion of the restaurant class, we did a unit on cocktails, but it wasn't like a bartending class. It was like, she wrote the name of a cocktail on a piece of paper, and put it in a hat, and we literally just picked them, and then we did our project on whatever cocktail we got.
Okay.
Yeah. So I chose the Aviation, which I had never heard of before, but that has become my favorite cocktail. I'm biased because I did a project on it, so I think it's really cool. But yeah, it was so fun, and we got to we did research, and then we had to make it for the class and do a whole presentation, make it, and then everybody gets to taste a little bit of it. but I was the only one that did shaken and stirred, because if you look it up, there's actually like heated debate on the aviation whether it should be shaken or stirred, and nobody can come to an agreement.
What did you like better?
We determined that we liked the shaken better because it was just a little bit more diluted, like a little bit more even. But some people swear by the stirred, and it was delicious, and that was nice. A fun unit.
Yeah, we did. Our bartending class is really cool. So it was mixology.
You had like a full mixology.
Full bar. Yeah, so there was 21 bars in that room. And like it was really cool.
That's a lot of bars.
I know, it was crazy. Like I just like, that was when I was a tour guide, like that was the highlight for all the kids. They were like, oh my gosh, there's like bars in there, and there's the kids are like 16, 17, like I mean, they probably were drinking at that time, like, we're just gonna hope that they weren't, but like wasn't
probably were.
I wasn't, but but they'd be like, wow, like, is that all real liquor? And I was like, nope, that's colored water.
Was it really?
Everything that we used, like when we were like practicing to make drinks, was colored water.
Interesting. That makes sense.
The instructors had everything, like the color chart, like to a T. So like when you make that bottle of like Kahlua, it's like X number of drops of brown and then like whatever yellow, like to make it that color. So then like, but it was like still like Kahlua's bottle and like Blue Curaçao's bottle, but it was like, it was fake colored water. We'd use real juices, mixers, garnishes, things like that. The correct glassware and everything, but the practical for that was 12 drinks in 12 minutes.
Whoa.
Correct liquor, mixer, glassware, and garnish. That's
intense. But that's how it is to be a bartender.
And like, I mean, every class, like Mr. Choice was the best professor I had for that. Like he has so much experience in different bars and things like that. We talk to this day, like great guy. He knows all these cool places in Newport. So when we go, like I gotta hit him up. But, like that was just such a cool class in terms of like he'd lower the shades, dim the lights, he put on like his like 80s music for us, and like he's like, all right, you guys are gonna like go at it. So we would do it. We did the amount of times we did the practical like before we actually did it, like that saved us, like I'd say, because you're pretending like you're in a real bar and like, all right, I did my 12 drinks in my 12 minutes, but like you don't know what you're going to get on the practical. We learned like 60 different drinks, but then he picks 12 on that day and he's like, all right, these are what you're going to do. Then he'd come around and he'd check it and he'd be like, I remember exactly, this is a Black Russian that I had to make. And he's like, what liquor did you use in that? Because the color was off. And I was like, I don't remember what I did. I did something wrong. And then he was like, no, that he's like, because it's just by the color, he could tell, because like they perfected that algorithm, which I thought was insane. Like that was so cool.
It is insane, as opposed to just using alcohol.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So, so I think that was like the only one I got wrong on there, which like that was pretty good. 11 out of 12. Like I'll take it for having a minute to do each one. Like,
yeah, that's intense. But realistic, because when you're at a busy bar, it's like you have everybody pulling you this way, that way, and you got to make drinks really quick,
right?
Like, and you got to remember whose is what, and you got to know. Like it's.
Then we learned how to count. Like I still count the same way to this day, like the 1,000 count. So 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 stop is your 1.5 ounce standard pour. If you like when you're using a speed pourer, so
crazy.
Yep.
Crazy alchemy. Yep. Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, potions for
literally.
The colored stuff is like colored water is very interesting, because I wonder how much time they took to perfect that when they could just be using the regular alcohol, but it probably saved them thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, because like imagine like 20 kids making those like drinks like 5-6 times a day, because the labs are 6 hours long.
Yeah. So
like, I mean, probably more than that, but like if you factor in the academic portion and the cleanup portion, it's like, I don't know, you get like 3-4 hours in the actual like lab portion. But yeah, like dumping that down the drain, and like also like we'd all be like, stumbling out of there, if not being trashed. Like wheeled out on like in the ambulance, but like, but they would make one drink every night, like with the real stuff, and we'd all get to taste it. Like we could taste up to 1.5 ounces, like. There's a special agreement like they have with the state. Like we're under 21, but like we're a school, so as long as they give us like food, so it's like there's like cheese and crackers like every night, and like you try this drink or whatever. Or it was like literally like you take the straw and you just go like this and then like taste it, like it was anything. But
that's
Mr.
funny.
Choice is always making good drinks. The grasshopper was really good. Like the mint,
never had
the
a
mint chocolate.
grasshopper.
Oh yeah, it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember I was very drunk after one particular day in Wines 101. It was the day we did ports and dessert wines.
Okay.
Because those are like 15 to 20%
Yes,
alcohol
they are.
sometimes, even like more when you get into like the older ports. And we tried 9 or 10 different ports. And usually I wouldn't spit because we would just do like 5 or 6 white wines and, 1 ounce pours or 2 ounce pours. Yeah. So it's like, I'm just, it's all good. And I have class at 2. So, just drink and then go hang out in the yard or something.
Sure.
But this particular day, I actually did spit out most of it because I knew how alcoholic it was, but it didn't even matter. Like I was so trashed after, and I had wines at 8 a.m.
That's so crazy. Okay, drinking, so like we had this either 7 a.m. or we had 1:45.
Oh
like
my
you
God.
were in there for 6 hours. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I remember going back to the dorm and we were all just giggling and laughing the whole time. And then I literally fell asleep in my bed until 1:45 p.m. And then I had class at 2. And I got up and ran to class and I was like drunk for half of class. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible.
That's crazy. Yeah. Like we would do we would sip and then we'd spit, but then you sip and then swallow to really see how it leaves on your palate, what you're feeling. If it burns in your throat, it's a higher alcohol content, things like that. But yeah, I can't say I ever left drunk. I mean,
yeah,
but that would have been crazy. We only did 5 or 6 a day, I think. Damn, 9 or 10, that was
the most we ever did, I think, was 12 or 14.
Wow. Okay. You guys really went for it.
Yeah, it was a lot. And we went into it and we were all like, we're not going to spit anything out. We're going to drink all this out. Free alcohol is going to be awesome. But all of us were like, we can't do this. We can't. It's 8 a.m.
Sure.
But yeah. And what I thought was interesting and a little gross is he would always tell us not to brush our teeth before class.
Ew.
He would say, don't brush your teeth.
You go in there with a freaking morning breath and
literally. And he'd be like,
hello, everybody. And just gas everybody.
He'd say, don't brush your teeth and don't have coffee so you can come in with a neutral palate. And I'm like, my palate's not neutral. It tastes like my breath.
From
disgusting.
The night before. That's so gross.
Yeah.
That's so disgusting.
I would always brush my teeth.
I
wouldn't
too.
have coffee, but I would brush my teeth. But yeah, wine is so interesting. I would love to. I kind of wish I took more wine classes.
Same. Yeah, there was a sommelier minor, but I didn't take it. But
yeah, I think if I could go back, I would do that because I really enjoyed it and found it interesting. But I have the book right here. Wine Wise is the CIA's textbook. Nice. So I flip through that every once in a while. And learn. But yeah, I also have some wines from when I was in California.
Very nice.
Which are great. I spent too much money while I was out there. I wasn't working for 3 months, and then we went to California, and I was like, sure, I'll buy all this cool wine while we're out there. Don't worry about
it's
money.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my mom was paying for the whole trip, the French Laundry, the sushi, everything. So I kind of was like, I will buy my mom wine, whatever she wants. So I think I spent $1,200 on wine while we were out there.
All right.
Poof, I was like, damn, I feel baller right now, but my wallet did not feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little depressed on how much I spent.
Sure.
I think the most I spent on one bottle there was $160. And I still have it. It's up there. But
it's
a 2018, a really nice vintage that they had from Hamel. And we got to try it and it was delicious. So I was like, I'll save this for a really special occasion or something.
For sure.
Definitely not going to cook with it though.
No.
I'm not going to be making a bolognese with
That's
that
not
one.
our cooking wine. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I like what people are doing now where they're serving ports and dessert wines kind of at the intermediate courses. When I was at the French Laundry, what really blew me away was they served a sherry on course 4.
Oh, interesting.
Which was very early in the meal to be serving a sherry, but it was delicious. And it paired so well. I love stuff like that. Also the natural wine movement that's happening. The Four Horsemen in Brooklyn is probably my favorite restaurant in the world right now. So good. Food is just clean, delicious. Shout out Nick Curtola. I would love to have him on here one day and get to talk to him.
You never know.
But yeah, just super clean food, really well executed, and then just the craziest wine list of just natural wines, just less processed.
Nice.
Just sometimes they have pulp in them, sometimes they're cloudy.
Cool.
It's really just fermented fruit juice at that point.
For sure.
And it's delicious, very, very fun. And when it pairs well, it's amazing. I love that type of stuff. I would love to learn how to make wine for sure.
Same.
I feel that would be cool. Fun.
And beer.
Yeah, beer.
We had a microbrewery on campus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had a big alcohol program there, it seems.
Decent, yeah. Decent. It was Coors donated the microbrewery to us. So it was the Coors Beverage Lab. That was what the thing said. And there was a club play on JWoo called J Brew. And they would go to competition and they actually would do really well. They had a whole case of all their awards. It was really cool.
Wow.
I wish that's the club I wish I joined because that's pretty cool. But
It's funny that Johnson and Wales and the CIA are like rivals.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the culinary competitions. Like,
Yeah.
they would always be neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do the culinary competitions, but I went and shadowed this cook, Lourdes, who I think works at the French Laundry now, actually. Extremely talented.
Nice.
And I remember like helping and shadowing and watching, and I just was thinking the whole time, I was like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I've never worked in a kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm not at this level yet. Like, just watching what she was doing, I was like, there's no way that this is something that I'm going to be able to do right now. Like, I need to just focus on like my studies and learning the basics and just work on that. And like, maybe if I come back here for grad school one day, I'll compete. But like, yeah, right. I knew just watching her. And then also in my fundamentals class, I had this woman named Wu He, and God, she just was like, she had 9 years in professional kitchens, and now she was going to the CIA.
Wow.
And she was in my fundamentals class. So it's like you were saying earlier, it's like, here I am coming in with no experience. And then my friend Joshua has been cooking since he was a kid, and he was on MasterChef Junior in Indonesia. And like has all this, like, I knew multiple people who were on Chop Junior. So like all this talent around me.
Sure.
But then like this woman, Wu He, who had, worked in real kitchens, not just like, you know, worked for my family bakery or something like that, like really had experience. She would just dominate us and everything. Because me and Josh would always be competing. He instilled competitiveness in me for sure. And we'd always try to see who could finish first, but we were really just competing for second, because she would always finish first and get 100. Like, her knife cuts were just immaculate, and we were like struggling to do bâtonnets and stuff. And I was like, okay, there's levels. Like,
there is.
Very humbling to get there and see all these talented people around you, for sure.
I know the other day I cut orange supreme for the first time, like since my sophomore year, and I was like, I still got it. Like,
dude, I do a lot of supremes.
Yeah,
we do brunches once, like the last Sunday of every month at Little Moss, and we always do a citrus salad, just nice. Really nice grapefruit with orange.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite cuts. Long. I just love it. Like,
it takes so long.
I mean, it's so messy because like you're sitting there with a paring knife and it's like juice all over the cutting board, but it's like, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's just like so sathing because like you're cutting like, between the membrane, and it's like you just get the flesh. And like that's another thing too. Like that was on that practical. My Chef McGuire, good guy, hard chef, but like still learned a ton from him. But he was like, your yield on that. And I was like, I know, okay. I was a little bit nervous. I was rushing. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I got it. I'm like, I got it in my head. Like, but no, like he was that. I had him for fundamentals and cooking in the global marketplace, both two really great classes. The one thing that like, it was funny. I was walking through the academic center, like in grad school, and I was just talking to my friends, and I was like, the academic center like shared the dining hall, and it had like a couple culinary labs like still left over in there, but then there was that huge building. So like we were walking through the back like just to go out, and I was like, oh, I smell fried food. I was like, it is fried food day in fundamentals. And like I was like I hated that day. I felt so sick, like because that was our family meal, like we ate everything that we made. So like I felt so sick, and I was like, I remember that day I was like with Chef McGuire, like it was fun, but like when I was like, I hated it. And who comes around the corner? He's like, so you didn't like that day, huh? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, really? I'm like, are you teaching it again in there? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, just so you know, all your kids are going to be feeling disgusting after today.
Yeah. I mean, that's facts. Yeah. Like eating all that fried food.
Because we did like, it was like all day. It was like, okay, pan fry, shallow fry, like deep fry. Like and I was like, I can't. I'm like, I'm hungry, but I literally can't eat any more of this. Because it was like, okay, taste the difference between the beer batter and like the standard breading procedure method, like of this onion ring. And I was like, I literally get it away from me. Yeah. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Never want to look at a French fry I'm like, I literally can't do it. Yeah.
But yeah, there were some days like that at school for sure. Especially baking and pastry. When we did that section, I'm pretty sure everybody in the class gained 10 pounds because there was 4 stations. There was bread station, there was cake station, there was laminated dough, and then there was pastry. And we would rotate every day. So every day we're making danishes and croissants.
Yeah, of course.
We're making cake. We're making pâte à choux and eclairs.
Yep.
Pastry cream. And then, soft rolls, monkey bread. Like oh my God.
Carb galore, but
we'd give as much away as we could to the other students.
Do the same thing. Yeah.
And then in the dining hall, we would send them up as much as we could, and then people would eat that for lunch. If you go to the a la carte kitchens, you'd get your meal, and then there'd be some pastries.
Nice.
But it wouldn't matter because there's so much that we would all take pastry boxes home.
Yep.
So I would literally have like a stack of pastry boxes on my dresser, just full of fresh Danishes and like raspberry cream cheese croissants. And I'm like, you're just eating them, and oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I felt that too. Like we would take some home, we give it away, and then we would donate it to like the food pantry. So we'd freeze them, and then once a week they come pick them up. Like
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely gained a lot of unnecessary weight in class.
Completely agreed. The freshman 15 is the freshman 50 at Johnson & Wales. We call it. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yep.
Yeah, fried food. It's so
rough
funny.
Class.
Like, yeah, I love
to this day
fried food when it's like done right. Like a really nice fish and chips is like one of my favorite things. Mm-hmm. But it's funny. Like I was at work the other day and I ate an arancini just like on a whim. And we fry them, and like I felt good all day, and then I ate that, and instantly my stomach just like turned.
Yeah,
like it's the oil. It's just not. It's not good. It's not good for you.
No.
And the fryer oil too. I mean, unless you're using like peanut oil or something like that, but we're not because so many people have allergies. Yeah, but that like just canola oil industrial mix is like it's not good for you.
It's not.
It was originally canola oil was made for mechanical lubrication. It was
great.
Yeah,
put that in their body.
It's just worked our way into our diet, and people eat it all the time, and it's not good. Not good. Doesn't make you feel good.
No, that's what I use when I bake. But
yeah, well, what are you baking? Like when you
like cakes and stuff, like when it says oil.
Oh yeah. I mean that's.
Yeah, I mean I'd rather use that over vegetable oil.
Yeah,
or corn
and
oil.
There's better alternatives, but you need a neutral oil sometimes.
Yes, I do.
You need something that doesn't taste like anything, because if you do olive oil, it'll have that strong taste.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
But I do have a olive oil cake recipe. I'll give it to you after.
Oh yeah,
no,
it's really good. I've had one. It's
God, really good. Dude, olive oil cake. I made one for Sayana's cousins, and one of their girlfriends came over here. So it was 5 of us, all in all, and I made an olive oil cake, and I made some bitter orange whipped cream, like orange peel whipped cream, and we ate the whole cake in one night. That. And it was just like I think Eric had 5 slices. Like he just couldn't, and he's a Muay Thai guy, like does fights, like trains hard, eats really clean.
Yeah.
And he just was crushing it. Like he was just eating it. He's like, this is so good. Because it's like, I love my weakness. I don't eat a lot of sugar, but my weakness is semi-sweet baked goods.
Okay.
Like a pain au chocolat with like an espresso is like, oh my, that is prime for me. I would eat that every day. And then that olive oil cake, it's just got like citrus in it. It's not too sweet, but it's like just sweet enough where it makes you want to take another bite. But it's not so sweet where you're like, oh my God, like a traditional cake where you're like overwhelmed with how sweet it is.
With everything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's all about the texture, like, and just like the yummy.
Love it.
Do you bake at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you like to bake?
Cakes, cookies, pies for Thanksgiving. I do cannoli, but I cheat and buy the shells.
That's okay. You know, cannolis are a lot of work.
They're hard to make the shells. I will do it. I have the forms, but I'm like, I don't want to fry today. Like, you know, like I really don't want to sit at the stove and fry.
Frying at home is such a pain in the ass. Makes a mess. Smells bad.
It does. You can't get that. You got to like put all your like jackets away and stuff because like it'll just like get in your clothes and like,
And whenever I do it here, it gets on this and it gets on the microwave and all over the stove and it's just such a mess. Do you bake bread at all? Like, do you make sourdough?
Yeah, I did a lot during COVID, as did everybody else.
Yeah, amazing. I love baking.
Yeah, my Le Creuset, I put the sourdough in and then put it in the oven, 500.
Dutch oven?
Yeah.
Nice. That's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, baking.
My orange one. Building up my collection slowly. I love that color in Le Creuset. That's my favorite.
Le Creuset is such a good brand. I have 2 of those mugs, that red one right there.
Oh, yeah, I have one of those too. I love them.
I got those at Nordstrom for super cheap.
Nice.
I think they were selling for $35. I got them for like $8.
All right.
Because I had the discount. So I got 2 of them, which was great. And then I got a ceramic pan from there as well, which was again like a $250 pan. I got it for like $120 or something.
Wow, not bad.
That one, it tragically fell off my dresser at school and the handle broke off. So I can still use it. Like I've baked in it before, but it doesn't have a handle, so now I'm grabbing it by like the hot part. And then I have a navy blue Dutch oven, but I don't think that's Le Creuset. I think it's Made In.
Okay.
Yeah, which is another. I love that brand as well. That's my favorite right now. Made In.
I brought that Le Creuset back from Germany.
Really?
That was my carry-on on the plane, literally like in the bag, and I was like, "They're like, what? They're like, okay, is that your?" I'm like, "Yes, here you go," and like put it through
like,
the security thing. It was filled with Haribo because like I put all the Haribo inside, and then I was like, just like send it through the thing.
That is hysterical.
That was like when I went to Sweden for my cousin's wedding. We went to Germany because my family still lives in Germany too on my dad's side. And like that was the one thing I wanted to do, like get a Le Creuset there because like they're cheaper because like it's closer to where they're actually produced. And like,
are they made in Germany?
They're made in France.
But like I thought they were made in France.
You'll see that certain ones, like if you look on the bottom, like it says made in France, and some of them don't, which is interesting. So
maybe there's like some knockoff ones going around that aren't like.
They're still real, but it's just like, I don't know, some of them are not stamped. I got to read the whole article about it again. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do. That's a great brand. They make really, really good cookware.
They do.
Yeah. I like Made In right now. I have the Dutch oven and then also this little copper pot.
Nice.
Is Made In, and I love that pot. It is a pain because I have to polish it every time I use it.
Yeah.
So I don't use it a ton, but when I do use it, it's just such a joy.
Of course.
It just heats so evenly. Like
I know, it looks good too.
Yeah, and when you're doing it, it's like you get like that perfect circle from the flame of the reduction, and it's like you just know that it's all evenly doing its thing. This pan is not actually usable. I just bought this at an antique store because I love copper so much. You can see it's old and worn out.
Tarnished,
the tin is all gone and scratched because some idiot was probably using a metal spatula in there for years. I've thought about bringing this to a blacksmith and seeing if I can get it they could retinned, but I mean, the copper is the valuable part.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I need to look into that because this would be a great little
cool
pan.
one. Yeah,
this would be a great little egg pan. Or
yes,
something.
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, is it worth the effort? Because would I use it? Because then I'd have to polish it every single time.
Yeah.
Somebody comes over because sometimes I won't polish it, and then I just look at it every day, and I'm like, that's really ugly.
Yeah.
Because at Asuka Asakami, one of my jobs was we had these little teeny tiny copper pots that we would just do every sauce in, and that was one of my responsibilities, was making sure that they were polished for service.
Wow. Okay.
And there was like 20 something of them, so I would write like last minute because they oxidize so quickly, so last minute before service I would always like polish them with Barkeeper's Friend and make them look all nice and breathe in a bunch of chemicals. But yeah, that was part of the job.
Yeah, the same thing when we had to scour pots and pans in lab. To get all the black stuff off, and that was my worst favorite. I hated that part.
Yeah, that part does suck. I have to say, dishes you never really get used to doing.
No, you don't.
The volume of dishes that it takes. Like our dishwasher broke this week at Little Moss, or just for one day it broke, and so we just did dishes like by hand. And we're doing it all
by hand in lab, and we had like the treat was when we were working like in the kitchen attached to the dining room because we'd have a dish machine.
Yes,
that was the treat. That was the treat, and we were all like, "Okay, guys, we can get out of here early tonight because we're gonna put everything in the dish machine." Like,
bang.
Yep.
Nice and easy. Dishes suck.
They do.
Never gets old.
Never.
Equipment is. I miss the CIA's equipment sometimes. Like in Bocuse, the restaurant that I was in for the restaurant portion, we had a blast chiller.
Oh, nice.
I've never worked with one
those
since.
Rationale ovens, the combi ovens.
We have a Rationale at Little Moss.
And we have them at the hotel too. It's the best thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the steam alone, like just the fact that it's an oven, but then you can switch it to steam.
I know.
So quickly is the most useful.
And then you can put the thermometer in like something and then tell it I want it this temperature, and it will like literally stop. It's amazing.
Yeah. We do that with we do our burgers in a very unique way. I've never seen it before. Like everything's from scratch. We make the milk buns every day. We grind the meat. It's a huge process.
Yeah, for sure.
But for service, we'll take like a half sheet tray and put the burgers on it. And I had never seen this before, but they actually we grind our meat and then we take clarified butter or beef tallow, whatever we have on hand, and we'll dip the burgers in it so they don't oxidize.
Oh, cool.
I had never seen that. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But then we'll put it on racks and we'll put it in the lower oven of the Rationale, put the probe in it, put it on 200 but set it to 130, and then it will come up to 130, and then we change the probe to 125, and then it will just hold it there for service.
Nice.
So then that's medium rare, or just below. And then the pickup becomes, it's already warm. So the pickup becomes, you toast your bun, you set up your plates, you fill up your little mayonnaise ramekin.
Yeah. The mark on the grill.
2 minutes, rest it,
Not bad.
Melt the cheese, put it on, drop the fries, bang, done. Like you can fire a burger in like 4 or 5 minutes instead of starting with a cold patty, which is what I'm used to.
Sure,
like in corporate environments, like you just grab cold patty, go on, 8 or 9 minutes, medium well, 12 minutes, like takes forever. But yeah, and it works well because even if we don't sell them, you can't sell them the next day because they've been in the oven for so long. So that just becomes family. Like then we have ground meat all the time. We'll do like bolognese or we'll do like fried rice or something and like, or just rice bowls and like, yeah. The one that makes me sad too is duck. Yeah. Because we render the skin when we're going to have a busy night, but sometimes you just don't sell a bunch of duck. So then you have like 3 duck breasts that you didn't sell, but you can't sell to a guest because it's already been rendered. So then, like I think Arini made, she made polenta with duck. Like she like sliced it up and like sauteed it and it was delicious. Oh, nice. But like, yeah, I missed family meal. I missed having like a true family meal in a kitchen. It's so fun, and using up waste and getting creative is really, really fun. Yeah. Like I did that at Oscar and we did it at school, but then for 2 years when I was working in a more corporate environment, it was more just like you make yourself one meal every day. If you work a double, you can have 2. But yeah, no like family meal. You just go eat in your car or sit outside or something. I know. And yeah, just something about eating with everybody and
it's nice
working together. Yeah,
I wish we did that more, but it's hard to like. We don't close. Like we are open. We open for lunch. We stay open through dinner. Like we don't close. It's like I can't bring everybody off the line and be like, hey, let's go eat.
Hey, let's all go sit together.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah,
it would be cool. Are you guys like 365 days a year?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. The Black Whale, the restaurant I used to work at, and all their restaurants are 363. So they close on Christmas and Thanksgiving. And that's it. And
we run limited hours like on the holidays, but like we'll still like we're open because people are staying with us. So
exactly. Yeah. People are always traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hotels, whole different world.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so cool. But that's what I love about this industry is like you can work in restaurants your whole life and never experience a hotel. Or vice versa.
That's true.
And like they're so different, but similar at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I did both, and then I hit the hotel side, and I was like, this is different and it's crazy, and I like it. So like, I haven't left. Like the only time I left was like during COVID when we got laid off, but like then it was Starbucks time at that point. So yeah, just slinging drinks all day long. Yeah.
What are your like aspirations and goals at this point? Like you're working in like you have your culinary degree. Yep. You're working in hotels, learning hospitality, all this stuff. What's your goal in life? Like, what do you want to do with this experience that you're gaining?
I mean, I'd love to open up my own hotel with food and beverage outlets, things like that, but need a lot of capital for that, for sure. But that's, I mean, an easier way to kind of do that is like to get on an opening team with the property. So like if I were to open up a new Marriott branded hotel, whether that's like a a regular full service Marriott, Westin, whatever, any of the 31 brands. If you're on an opening team, like basically if they're building from the ground up, you're there and you're like, all right, well, I want this there, I want that, I want this. Like they'll literally do it like that. So I think that would be really cool. But before that, I do a lot of work with the point of sale. I'm like I said, I'm the programmer guy. I do all that kind of stuff. Like just very interesting to me. So I want to work like at the corporate level and like go around and teach people and train people. All right, like because I know how to use it like on the service aspect of it. So like I want to teach you as maybe a manager who like doesn't use it per se as the server does, how to lay it out and how to build it so it's going to be the most efficient and like easiest for staff. And like say you have mobile ordering, like how can you lay out that mobile app to like be as like enticing as possible to the guest. So that's kind of where I want to go next.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah. And, I mean, like in theory, you'd one day want to open your own hotel, like completely
I'd love to. I still want it under the Marriott umbrella because like they have really good like programs and training and like the whole Bonvoy like rewards, things like that. So like they have really good stuff that you can use. But I'd still maybe like one of the more unique brands, like an Autograph or a luxury collection, because at that point, like you're not like kind of as cookie cutter where it's like if you go to the Marriott like in Newport and you go to like the Marriott in, I don't know, Dallas, like it's still like the red M, like it's that's your Marriott full service typical like property. Like, you know, each one's gonna have a little bit something different, but like you're still gonna see like, and for Westin, for example, like if you go to the Westin in Copley Place where I worked last year, and you go to the Westin in, I think there's probably one in Seattle, somewhere, anywhere. You're going to see the heavenly bed. You're going to see the white tea scent. You're going to see all the same bathroom amenities. You're going to see similar like food and beverage offerings, like because that's branded. Where the autograph and like things like that are more unique. My friend works at the Lido House in California. The property looks like the owner's house, but it's like it's an autograph collection or luxury collection, one of the two. And like the restaurant menu is not going to be always the same at every single autograph. Like the building can look totally different. Like this is very nautical themed, but like you get away with autograph like I don't know, another state, you're not going to see like always a nautical themed autograph. So that's a good way to get in. So,
nice.
But again, cool. Need the capital.
Yeah, yeah, that's the hardest part. Yeah.
So find an investor or like win the lottery,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food memory? Like when you think back, like nostalgia, just something that, like because I know before the hotel stuff, you wanted to be a chef from a very young age. So what can you kind of think back on as like what sparked that love of food for you, like specifically?
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up like at my grandmother's house with my cousins and everything, and we'd always have the holidays together at her house, and we still do to this day. And it was always like she was cooking. She'd do her like signature things. Her Christmas, we'd have like the strufoli, the little like fried dough balls with the honey and the sprinkles on them. So like that's definitely one of the big things. Like it was like seeing how she did all this by hand, and then like it turns out something awesome, and like just it's like close to my heart. So like I know one day she's not going to be here with us, but I'm gonna try and carry that on like in her legacy, and like still bring people to the house and be like, okay, we're gonna have what Nonna made. So
nice.
That's kind of my favorite memory.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Sorry, I know it's like really cheesy, but like it's true.
Not.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I ask everybody that question that comes on, and I don't think it's cheesy. Most people say cooking with their grandmothers because that's a very traditionally the women are cooking in the kitchen, so it's like kind of their role that they're in, and they share it and try to pass it on. And it's true. It's like you said, it's they're not going to be there forever.
Right.
It's the reality of it. But
so I'm writing everything down, like all their stuff.
That's
and like
that's awesome. That
the same thing with I cooked with my dad's aunt a bunch. Like so, my dad's Palestinian, so he was born in Palestine and then moved here, and then so I have both Italian and Palestinian in my genes. So like Middle Eastern food's really important to me too. So I've cooked with her a bit. I didn't really get to cook with his mother, unfortunately, but because everybody really kind of stayed over in Europe, like they moved out of Palestine and everything. But they kind of all stayed over there. Only as like his sister and his aunt really like ventured over here to visit and things like that. But I like to do more of Middle Eastern cooking. Like I got to go over and see them at some point. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. You want to wrap it up?
Sure.
Sweet. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you coming on. This was great.
Of course.
Cool. Great. Episode 8.
Great.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
You got it.